Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Eccentric, the makers of the K-Box and the new K-Pulley. Guys, flywheel training's really grown in popularity of late, and although it's something that's been around for a while, the simple reason that it's grown in popularity is because it works. We've been lucky to have a K-Box in our weight room for the past 3 years, and we've seen some really great things when it comes to improving the athlete's ability to change direction, and then looking at our return to play protocols with different lower body injuries with the student athletes. The love-hate relationship that everyone has with the K-Box is now just going to grow more with the addition of the K-Pulley. The ability to do standing presses, pulls, rip-throughs, and knee drive exercises is just going to be another arsenal to our training and another addition to the love-hate relationship that our student athletes have with the awesome tools that come from Eccentric. Go ahead and hop over to eccentric.com today to check out what they have. Guys, I can't recommend it enough, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed, not just with the products, but with the awesome customer service that Eccentric provides. Hey everybody, if you enjoy the podcast and the content that it provides, make sure you hop over and check out the all-new Strength Coach Network. The Strength Coach Network is a combination of the CVA SPS community and the Rugby Strength Coach community, bringing you what is sure to be the internet's leading resource for continuing education for strength and conditioning professionals. Combining these two resources has allowed us to bring some of the best content from some of the best minds in the world together for your one-stop shop to better improve the continuing education for not just yourself, but your entire staff. Bringing together all of the lectures from the Rugby Strength Coach community, along with the lectures exclusively done for the Central Virginia Sport Performance community, and all the lectures performed at the Central Virginia Sport Performance Seminar, make this an absolute must for performance coaches around the world. The world-class lectures at the Strength Coach Network are not all that you'll see as well. The discussion in the forums and the support and the career guidance from some of the top practitioners in the world, from people all over the world, makes this an absolute must and a great place for you to network, learn, and grow as a performance professional. So hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com and use the code CVASPS, that's C-V-A-S-P-S, to get your 48-hour trial for only $1. We're sure you're going to find great value in the Strength Coach Network and are really excited to have you involved. So hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com and use the code CVASPS to check it out today. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. Today, guys, we have an absolutely killer discussion with Andreas Ohgren talking about training hockey players, building your methodology and your philosophy, and developing exercises and methods that have carryover to actual competition. After a quick intro, Andreas dives right into it, and we're talking about where his ideas came from, how his history as a player impacted it, and then what he deems important for these athletes and the success rate that he's had with them and how he's evaluated that. We also get into discussing how the player's individual coach and how that relationship works with the team strength and conditioning coach, how that's built, successes, issues he's had, all sorts of different aspects of that. Guys, this is really an awesome talk. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Let's get right to it. Andreas, thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a complete honor. I'm thrilled to do this.
Well, thank you, man. I'm really stoked for this as a former, now washed up hockey player, and knowing your resume, I'm really stoked to have this conversation. So, for the person and a half maybe who doesn't know who you are, let's give them the kind of Spark Notes version of who you are, where you're at, and how you got there.
Yeah. So, like the short version, I'm gonna try to make it short. I'm Swedish, so I'm 43 years old, coming from Sweden, born and raised. And I used to play pro hockey back in Sweden, but I had to stop playing when I was really too young. I was only like 20 years old because of injuries. And I really thought back then that it was hockey that got me injured, because I had the worst part was I had 3 disc herniations. So I woke up one morning and a numb right leg, so I couldn't feel my right leg. So I was straight to the hospital, and it was really bad for almost a year. And I tried everything I had to come back and use all this kind of specialists in Sweden to kind of try to help me to get back. But, at the end of the day, I had to stop playing because I had too much pain. And somewhere, somehow in my brain, I'm like, how hard can it be to fix a player or to help a player keep doing what he loves to do? Does it have to be this way? Do I have to quit playing hockey because no one can fix me? So it was kind of hard because I know too, like for athletes, it is a problem, especially in hockey, that I saw myself as Andreas, the hockey player only. I was just a hockey player. So when that is taken away from you, it's kind of hard, like mentally. What do you do now? What am I going to do? I'm just a hockey player. So it was tough, of course. But then one of my best friend at the time was a personal trainer. And ironic enough, I thought I knew everything about training, even though I couldn't walk. uh, so I started to train people from like zero education. This is like over 20 years ago. And back then, personal training was not big at all in Sweden. It was, a couple of celebrities that could afford it and had it, and nobody was. But so I started to train people, and only from my kind of personality and my energy, I had some results, and I got kind of interested to train people, but still I didn't figure out why I had to quit myself, why I had so much pain until years later when I realized I was doing like, 3 different sports on elite level. I was a weightlifter and I was a hockey player and I was a long distance runner at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, so that my body broke down was not, surprising. It was like looking back now.
Yeah.
Because in Sweden, we are like really traditional when it comes to weightlifting because we incorporate weightlifting in pretty much any sport. So for me, as like a pretty driven guy, I wanted to train really, really hard, especially when you're a super talent and you're 16 years old and people think you're going to end up in NHL. I want to train really, really hard, and I did, and I was really strong, but I couldn't move. And looking back now, I can remember how I never felt strong on the ice, but I was, really strong at the gym, which was like, okay, I did like 485 in squats and I did like, or 300 in pounds in bench press. And so I was kind of strong for a hockey player, not if you compare it to American football player maybe, but for a hockey player, I was pretty strong, especially at 17, 18 years old. But I couldn't move. And I never felt strong on the ice, and I could never figure that out. I remember now looking back, like, why did I ever? Yeah, I wanted to so much feel strong on the ice, and I asked so many people, like, why am I not strong on the ice? I'm so strong at the gym, and no one could ever answer that. And during my rehab period, people did all that, you have to engage your core. You have to have a strong core. I'm like, dude, I'm so strong in my core. So it never made sense to me. Like, you have to engage that core to if you have back problems. I'm like, okay, doesn't make sense to me. So I used to say, like, I'm okay, but it's pretty smart when it comes to logic. But if it's not logical to me, I don't understand it. So if you tell me, like, you have to have a strong core to a hockey player, doesn't make sense. Have you ever watched the game? Like, they are so strong. But logic to me is if you have hips that doesn't move, that will make your core or back muscles or whatever you want to call it move a lot more than maybe they should, instead of using your hip muscles, which are really strong and big. That will make your back muscles fatigue fast, and that will create back problems eventually. I don't think, like now, years later, when I've been working with thousands of athletes, I see that maybe 99.9% has other issues than a weak core that we have to address first. And obviously for hockey players, it's kind of, when this body was made, whoever made this body, if there's a God who made it, it didn't made it to play hockey or skate. Because if you look at walking and running and jumping, it's, we got one internal rotation of the hips, and skating is external rotation of the hips. Walking and running and jumping is we want more adduction of the hips, and skating is abduction of the hips. So it's kind of opposite what the body wants to do. And that's why we wondered, okay, so why do we have a lot of kind of rigid hips and hips that doesn't move well in hockey? And we have so many hip impingements and cam impinger, and when so many hips that doesn't move well. So we create eventually going to be a surgery, even at young age. I even saw a study that I think it was college and NHL players. Over like 93% of them had some kind of labor problems between 16 and 19 years old. That means like pretty much every hockey players have some kind of issues with their labrum or hip capsule or hip joint by skating. So it's kind of I more believe in that because that makes sense to me. Like looking back now, because I was so stiff, I couldn't barely move at all, especially not my hip. But I was strong. But my back muscles did way too much because my hip didn't move. So I didn't use my glutes at all. I didn't use my hammies at all. I used my back. And it doesn't matter how strong my back is, it's going to fatigue and it's going to break down eventually, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. So let's keep running down that rabbit hole, though. So we're talking about the hip with skating. We're talking about issues. And we're talking about results. So let's kind of tie those all together because,
Sure.
obviously, you work with a bunch of guys in the league over here. And that's why we're lucky to be talking because you're right up the street right now. And, and obviously when you're dealing with $1 million athletes, results and health are the only thing that matters. So let's talk about your system. Let's talk about what you're doing with these guys. And let's talk about what you're seeing with those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big believer in movement, and if you look at NHL or hockey overall right now, or maybe sports overall, it's all about speed, right? Like if you compare NHL today, just 5 years ago, it's so much faster today. So we want to have people, all those players or athletes that moves well and moves fast. I'm not necessarily talking about like top speed fast, but you have to be able to move so fast from A to B to C, right? You have to be able to accelerate and decelerate and change direction so fast with full control. And I used to say like great athletes always come out of bad positions fast. So that's what we want to train. Like, how do you do that? How do we train that? And you need to go to the gym to train to get better on the ice, not to go to the gym to train to be better at the gym. Like, and I want to see, elastic movements. I want to see stiffness, like reactive strength, or what do you want to call it. So you can stiffen up the joints to create power. But you also need elastic muscles, so it can be elastic in some movements. So hockey is so kind of hard chaos sports because it's so fast and happens. It's impossible to know what's going to happen in the next second. And you got 5 people out there that want to kind of kill you. And you got 4 other guys in your line that you have to know where they are. And you got a black puck that you're going to chase and try to score. So it's pretty hard. And it's lactic acid, it's strength, it's power, it's everything. So I think we need to train that. I remember back in 2013, the World Championship was played in Stockholm. And I was watching Sweden play Canada in the quarterfinal. And there were one shift that Sweden were playing in their own zone, the D zone, for like 2 minutes. I remember it was Stamkos and Claude Giroux was having fun. And the Swedes were so tired. Then one of my clients for 10 years, Gabe Landeskog, took the puck and it crossed the red line. They put it down, so we're now no icing call. And I'm sitting there thinking, what if he could not be that tired so he can keep going and maybe create a scoring chance instead? Which was kind of a stupid thought of mine because he was really tired. But so that summer, I thought, what if we train to first we create lactic acid for them in one movement. Let's say we do squats, like bodyweight squats or to create lactic acid in their legs. And from that, we maybe jump. From that, we maybe sprint. From that, we maybe run up a hill, whatever. But first, we create lactic acid. I tried to find research on that, didn't find anything. So I'm like, okay, let's do my own research on this because I think it makes sense. Because hockey, if you step on the ice, you're going to have lactic acid pretty fast. So the only way to train that is to train it to learn to handle it better with training and, of course, nutrition. So we did that summer. And I know Rickard Raquel went back to Anaheim and they did a test on ice. I know the Caps do the same test here. They go from goalie line to goalie line to goalie line to goalie line to red line. And they rest for like 1 minute, I think, and they do that over again. And I think Raquel had an average of 33 seconds, which was he was the best in Anaheim on that. And the second guy had 37 seconds, which is a pretty huge difference for number one and number two, right? So he was so happy. Like, whatever we did this summer, it worked. And Landeskog went down to Colorado, and he had the best recovery that he ever seen in Avalanche history, which again, like, said something to me, like, hey, we did something right. So we have kind of built from that. So I believe so much in to varied movement. We have to be strong all over. So we don't do just regular squats. We do millions of different squats. We do millions of different movements just to be strong everywhere, to be able to move fluently with loaded movements from any position, be strong in any position, and from that, be able to move even with and without lactic acid. So it's kind of if that makes sense to you.
No, 100%. So
yeah,
it's you're pre-inducing the fatigue markers, and then having them work through it in order to build that tolerance.
Exactly.
Which, if people don't understand what a 90-second shift is on the ice, I basically would say it probably would feel like you literally were on fire.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, we kind of joke, but in reality, like, it's torturous.
It is torture. Yeah, it's tough. I agree. So it's not like we're doing that every session we do. Like, say, if we do it during the summer, we may do that kind of a session once a week. And that will be a session maybe on Thursday or Friday. So they have the weekend off to recover because it's that tough. But again, you have to train that. And the result we have from that is insane. So we're doing something right.
No doubt, especially when you've got guys who are greater than 10% above the next person on the team.
Exactly.
And not slouches. Like, pro hockey players aren't slouches.
Nope. Correct.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So then let's fast forward a little bit here too, because now you're in the States and you're making your rounds to see your guys and check in on them. Yep. Something that always really intrigues me is that personal coach and the team coach dynamic, especially at that level, because you see sometimes how it works great and you see sometimes how there's issues. Yep. How does that go down? How do you incorporate what you're doing with your guys and what they're responsible for to the team that has them contractually and is paying them? Yep. And how do you work with those coaches so they know what you've been doing with the men that they are responsible for during the year to ensure that they are okay for the whole season?
Yeah. Exactly, you're right on point, because there are differences in depending on what team we're talking about here, because I have so many players, but it's getting better and better every year, because at the end of the day, we want the best for the athlete, for the players. We want them, because I'm here just to help the athlete get better. And I love to work with team coaches and their med team and their strength guys, and just to make everything better for our players, right? Because, when you win the Stanley Cup, it will be worth it. So some teams, yes, in the beginning, sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle, because you kind of realize that I know some things about training, and I really want to do well for my players. And they kind of sometimes get scared that I want to take their job. But as soon as they realize I don't want to take their job, I'm here to help. They see me as an asset instead. They are fine. And I have a great relationship with all of them today, which is which is for me amazing, and especially for the players, it's amazing because we're here to help the players. And if we can work together for the players, they're gonna get better. And if the players get better, the team's gonna get better. So it's we have to do that together because what I do, I'm pretty good at what I do, and they are pretty good at what they do, and together we are better. So hopefully we'll continue to grow that, and more people will change into that direction, just to see what we can do for our players and learn from each other instead of being jealous. But some teams are really, really great with that, and most coaches and strength coaches and the med teams, they see like you have the guys like 3 months during the summer, like 5 days a week, and then they come over here. We can't change their training. Like if they do one thing for 3 months and they're prepared to play NHL hockey, and they come here and we do something totally different, that's just stupid. So they're just going to continue to work on stuff that we are doing, and that's why they like email me during the summer, ask me how it's going and what we're doing, and then the players come over, and then maybe I come over and I sit down and talk to them, and we make a plan. And thank God for me, like my guys have amazing results during testing, and like last week during testing, they all did so well. So as long as they do that, they understand I'm doing a pretty good job, and that makes it easier for me, of course.
No doubt about it. Now, does that cross-pollinate back to you as well? So say like, I don't know, let's just randomly say you've got a guy that's working out with you from the Washington Capitals and a guy that's working out with you from the Anaheim Ducks. Yep. Just randomly, let's pick two teams. Yep. Those guys are obviously going to be doing different things during the season because they have different strength coaches.
Yep.
So when they come back to you, how much of what their other coaches' ideas kind of pollinate into what you do, or is it just vice versa?
I mean, then again, it depends who it is. Mm-hmm. If it's just Nick Backstrom or Rickard Rakell or Gabe Landeskog, or huge names, of course it's easier. If it's a rookie like Jesper Bratt, I have in New Jersey Devils. We did our first 2 summers together, and he is 20 years old. But he was, like, I talked to his agent a couple of days ago, and he won like pretty much every test in New Jersey. So they loved what we've done during summer. So they want to ask me, what have you done? And they look at my Instagram, and they got inspired, get inspired by that. And so they tried to talk to me and talk to Jesper and what we're even doing, and they want to do kind of the same thing to keep growing in the same path that he is doing right now. So I think the guys over here are amazing when it comes to that. That you want to, if the players like the way they train during the summer, we're going to keep doing that during the winter as well. And that's why I like to come here and get to know those guys too, like so we can speak the same language for the player. So at the end of the day, they don't have to train so much during the season, in season. It's more like keeping them healthy. Like let's have your hip move well during the whole season. Because when I leave you in September and you come back to me again in May, or if you're lucky in June, if you win, I want you to be as close to September as possible when you come back to me in May, so we could take another step next summer, and then again the summer after that, so we can keep developing every summer as we go along. And that's why I want to be here to have a great communication with their strength guys to together develop the players during season, the in season as well.
I love it, especially because a lot of those guys too have been exceptionally successful, but you've also got the younger guys moving forward.
Yeah.
So my question then to follow up with that is, I've definitely stalked your Instagram for a while, and you do some very unique things.
Thank you.
Very unique things.
Yeah.
Where did these ideas come from? How did you formulate this?
Yeah.
This system, if you may.
Yeah.
And where are some things that you think, like, where are some holes in the ship of strength and conditioning that you think that these type of things plug?
I mean, I think it's come from, like, if you look at science, like science is one, it's really good as science exists, of course, but some things are really hard to do studies on. I like movements. It's really, really hard to come to break down a movement to say this movement is good for this person at this moment. That's really hard to do a study on. But if you look at science when it comes to like early specialization of an athlete, like if you're 11 years old, you're just going to play hockey 365 days a year. Otherwise, you won't be a hockey pro. And every science, every study there is out there saying, no, you have to do multiple sports, do so many different things where variation is the key. You know, every study says that. But we have parents that are hyper, I don't know, they really want their son or daughter to succeed and be a pro and make a lot of money. So they don't care about that. But I do. So I think it's hard today. When I was growing up, we could play soccer, which soccer is huge in Sweden and hockey is huge in Sweden. So I could play soccer during the summer, and then when hockey started, I could play hockey. It's not possible anymore, not in Sweden either, because everything is year-round sport. And that's not good. Just look at any study and they will agree. So I'm thinking, okay, well, because I got 3 kids of my own. I got a daughter, Molly, that's 4. I got Liam and Noel. Liam is 14 and Noel is 12. And both of those guys are huge talents in hockey. But they just want to play hockey. They don't want to be in another team because they think school and hockey is enough. So then I'm like, okay, then we need to do a lot of different stuff when it comes to off-ice training and strength and conditioning. And we do. We do so many things because people may think that I do like sports or sports specific training only for like it's my training during the summer is hockey specific. It's not. You're gonna get better at hockey, but a lot of stuff that we do is so far away from hockey you can imagine. But at the end, you're gonna get better at hockey because maybe we do things with your hips that's so opposite to skating, but it will make your hips feel better, so you're gonna skate better at the end of the day. And that comes from a lot of different movements because we know today that our joints can move in over 2,000 different ways. So if my hip joint can move in over 2,000 different ways, I better move that hip in a lot of different directions during training to make it healthy. And especially now when we know that hockey and skating is not healthy for our hips. So that makes training has to be really, if you don't play a lot of sports growing up, make sure your off-ice training have a lot of variation to it, and you do a lot of different stuff. And I think that's the key. So I incorporate kind of, why do we have to do one squat? Why do we have to be strong in just one position when, sport is a lot of positions? So we're doing many different squats. So let's say you do like right foot forward a little bit, and then you even take a bigger step and do squats, and then you take even a bigger step and do squats. And why do we do just squat to like your kind of peak strength where you're just strong as hell instead of doing maybe short squats and mid-range squats and really deep squats? Because I think you need to be strong in all of them, right? And why don't we have like really fast decelerated squats and maybe do really slow movements coming up and really fast movements coming down, or the other way around? And that's always we're talking planes, sagittal plane going forward and back, or the frontal plane going to the sides, and the transverse plane going in rotation. We've known that for years and years and years, that the body can move in 3 planes of motion. So I think we need to train that too. But most we need to train going forward because we have our eyes on our head, and our eyes want to take us forward, and we want to go forward. And most sports want to take us to a goal it's in front of you, obviously. So we need to be fast forward. But to get to that goal, you need to pass some opponents maybe, and you need to go sideways, and you need to rotate, you need to stop, you need to accelerate, you have to reaccelerate, you have to decelerate. There's so many things you need to be good at. So we need to train that too. And that's what we do, if that makes sense.
100%. I absolutely love it. And I think, though, that this is something that, like, people are probably listening to this, and they're like, okay, but what does he mean? So where can people find out more about what Andreas does and how he's building these things and what this programming actually looks like.
Yeah, as you said to me, you've been following me for a while. So my Instagram is I try to be and I try to give as much as I can. That I do when I'm here and traveling around, and especially during the summer, I try to give as much drills as possible, so to inspire people. It was so funny actually, if you let me, because I went to the pregame the other night, Washington, Boston, and a girl approached me on the bleachers, and she came up to me and said, "Hey, I just want to say that I follow you on Instagram." And I'm like, "Okay, you're amazing. It's so much inspiration. I actually lost 75 pounds because of just seeing your videos and doing them."
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. And I got so many emails after the summer too. Like people just that have been training and doing my videos with incredible results without even me being there, without a coach, just doing the video. So we obviously doing something right. If you can watch our videos and still get great results, something is pretty good with what we do. So my Instagram is pt_Andreas. So follow me there. I also got another Instagram account, which is AO Performance Sweden, SWE. So AO Performance SWE. And that's more of an education site. So hopefully I'm going to do more educations and courses over here too in the future. So yeah, please follow me there. And yeah, if you want to text me and write me, do that. I try to respond to everybody as soon as I can. So I just love to interact with people. That's how we develop and work together for a better world.
Yeah, man. And you're putting out some awesome stuff. And now I haven't lost 75 pounds, but I can tell you this, that like, there's a lot of things on there that make me think. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things on there that question what I would consider the normative things of what we would do.
Yeah.
But there's like 3 pictures on there where I just stare at them. I'm like, man, that's the coolest thing ever. And that's when you're standing with some other guy there with some big piece of silver that now has his name on it. And that's, I mean, to be honest, that like again, as an old hockey guy, like,
Yeah.
that's the coolest thing to me. Is it's just like, dude, he's holding the cup.
Yeah.
Like,
It was incredible.
yeah, that's pretty rad.
It is pretty rad. Yeah, it's what an experience. It's a moment I will never forget because for me, I had to quit hockey. I had to give up my dream to be an NHL player, and to still be here working in the league, not on the ice, but still close enough. So kind of, close enough. Anyway, I'm not on the ice, but I'm close enough. So it's still absolutely amazing, and to see the happiness of the guys when they win. If there's kids out there listening to this, it's worth it. Just work your ass off from a really young age, and look for role models and really good people out there, and you need to work, and it's not about just anyone can make you tired, but not anyone can make you better. So do good things. Make sure you have fun. At the end of the day, you need to have fun. People ask me, like, it looks like you have so much fun when you train these guys. I'm like, yeah, we're having fun. And if you're going to have results, if we're talking about results here, do you think you can have a better result if you like coming to me to train? Or if I'm like a boring dude that's going to do boring stuff with you? Yeah, I know it's a lot of talk about the buy-in today, about that conscious coaching. It's such an amazing book. I think so much comes down to communications with your athletes. Talk with them. What do you need? How do you feel today? Stress levels. It's about communication and make them have fun. And then, of course, you have to have quality movements from that. But you need to have fun, especially when you're kids, because a huge problem out there today is that kids stop playing sports because it's not fun anymore, and that's not good. We need to have fun.
100%. Well, Andreas,
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us today, man. This is fantastic, my man.
I appreciate it so much, man. It's been a complete joy to do this, and hopefully to do it again sometime.
Yeah, 100%, man. Well, listen, we'll be in touch real soon. I can't thank you enough, and yeah, people are gonna love this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And a huge thanks to Andreas Ohgren for spending the time with us today. Guys, what more can you ask? A coach sharing where his methods came from, how he's built this philosophy, what the exercises are, and how he came up with these different scenarios, and how his impact as a player impacted all this. Open, honest, candid sharing, including results that matter when it comes to what his players are looking for. I can't thank Andreas enough for being so open, honest, and candid with us today. This was sensational. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the talk, please share it through the social media outlet of your choice. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. Your word of mouth is our lifeblood. And all we're trying to do is get the best information out there to all the fantastic coaches. So if you know someone that can benefit from this, shoot them a DM, tweet it at them, email them, whatever it may be. Again, we're just trying to get the best information out there possible and are truly appreciative of you guys for sharing and passing along the content. And as always, guys, thank you for everything that you do for us here at Central Virginia Sport Performance. We will be back next week with another awesome guest. We will see you then.